Hey everyone, checking in on the markets today. First and most notably is the S&P 500 lost the uptrend on the daily time frame for the first time in 3 months. So this uptrend started back in June, and it's been a very clear higher low, higher high pattern now broken. And you can even point out the bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern here. Clear bear break, and now the question is, do we see further weekly consolidation? So the weekly consolidation has hardly even begun. We have not seen 2 red weeks in a row, which we are likely to about to see for the first time since this uptrend started. So now the question is, do we see daily lower highs and lower lows? Anything under 291 or 293.21, anything under that is just a lower high. So let's see if this pullback is going to be significant in any way, because if it is absolutely going to affect the Canadian MJ sector and every sector in the stock market. So that's something to be keeping an eye on, and that's definitely a factor to keep in mind for October 17th and beyond. So let's start off with CGC, and I actually broke my streak today. Of course I broke my streak after mentioning it. Would not happen any other way. So today I sold my ACB FF gap up first thing as I was planning. It was extended on the hourly. I knew we would likely see profit taking, so I locked in that gain from the overnight swing. Then I traded the CGC dip and flip first thing, and that went well as well. So where are we here? So the first dip that we got, I bought in, seeing it was extended from the top down to the low, and I had a solid entry and a solid flip. And my mistake then came right here. So we hit the new high of the day, and I said, all right, I'm going to rebuy in looking for a higher low. So I rebought in again, and then when we saw no follow through and broke to a lower low, I stopped myself out on that new low of the day. So that was enough to erase the gains. And actually what it was is I had a bigger position on this one than I did originally. So originally I had a flip with my standard position, and then I scaled in on this entry looking for the higher low. So a half position, then doubled up. And then when we got that bear break, that loss, it just wiped out my gains. It was a small red day, and it was nowhere near giving back as much as the gains that I made from yesterday, but it just wasn't a green day. So a slight step back, perhaps maybe 5 steps forward yesterday, 1 step back today. The bottom line is I was red today, and it was important to note, and what I want to talk about is, I say so many times, trade like a robot, don't let your emotions rule you, and all that with the trader, absolutely. That doesn't mean you get to a point where you don't feel it, because I feel these emotions. I feel fear, I feel FOMO, I feel greed. I just recognize consciously that I am experiencing those emotions and I don't act on them. So as soon as I made that bear break and exited that position, I said, oh, now I'm red on the day. And I instantly started to think I could use a bigger position and get that back real quick. And as soon as I had that thought, I caught myself and I put myself in timeout, and I said, nope, you're done. You are not going to trade if that's the first mindset that you have, trying to keep a streak alive. I don't care how many days in a row it ends up being. I care if I'm just consistently profitable. And so I put myself in timeout, and I slowed my trading way down. I took a break, and then I did some trading of Tesla after hours. Actually, it wasn't Tesla, and it was Amazon in the afternoon, and I made some gains back there. So I pretty much ended up with almost a break-even day. It was slightly red. The green streak is officially over, but the most important takeaway there is stopping yourself, recognizing the emotions. It's almost like I view what goes on in my head from a third party. I zoom out from the scenario. It's my body, the voice inside my head that's reacting emotionally, and then there's a third little voice in there that's observing the emotional voice, and it says, nope, you're not going to be trading if that's the way you're thinking. So CGC on the daily time frame, we are looking at the possibility of a bear flag. We have to be aware of that because this is a weak bounce and it's just a lower high, and we close with a little bit of weakness. So the most important range that we're watching right now is our low of 44.90 and our lower high on the daily here, which is down at 51.21. So 51.21 is the most important resistance level. We pulled back, most important short term. We pulled back from that level, and now we're looking back down towards that recent low. If we look on the 4-hour time frame, there's no red flags just yet. The bulls can easily form a higher low, and then they'll need to change the trend. So it's a clear 4-hour downtrend, and we're looking for the higher low, and then we need a bull break of 50.21, the high of today, to change this 4-hour trend. And if we look at it from the hourly chart perspective, we knew we were overextended. We started the morning with a gap up open. Congrats to anybody that bought that dip after hours yesterday. But the gap up open was a profit-taking gift. Again, general rule of thumb, Gap ups are for selling, gap downs are for buying. Not all the time, but that's the general rule. And we can see we're tight here at the end of the day as we have multiple hourly inside bars. So we could get the 15-minute time frame up and see that we are in a tight range right now. But really, the 4-hour time frame gives the most clarity for me, because if I look at this daily chart, I say, uh-oh, that's a bear flag. But if I look at that 4-hour chart, I say, well, we could just form that 4-hour high or low and then try and change that trend, because we were coming from a bounce in a V-shaped recovery that was a significant dump. So the odds are we're not going to make it the whole way back. If tomorrow we break 47.63, the odds that we see an equilibrium are more likely. If we hold 47.63, the bulls can see continuation. But judging by the market right now, we have to be cautious, and we'll see if that level can be defended. 47.63, key short-term support. 4-hour time frame has the most clarity in my opinion. 4-hour time frame for TLRY. Bulls held on pretty well. I guess it was a 7% red day, but held on pretty well for that bot deal, or I should say the dilution we got coming. So we have our high, low, lower high is resistance at 157, and the bulls are trying to form a higher low at 141.11, but we don't have enough confidence that that is our higher low yet. The bulls have not seen enough follow through. So the level that we're going to use is still 131.50. The bulls are looking for a higher low compared to 131.50, and if we continue to tighten up into tomorrow, we will have a nice tight pattern to be watching into early next week. So we have a lot of tightening patterns out there. CGC on the 4-hour, I anticipate that to tighten up. We got TLRY on the 4-hour tightening up. APH, that looks more like a bear flag than CGC, and it's because of where we are coming from. It's because of how far we are away from resistance. Support is down at 1578. That is such an important level, with 1576 just below it because of all the space down here if this support level were to break. We look at it on the 4-hour time frame. Look at how that compares to CGC. So it's similar, but it's much weaker. We've pulled back much more, and the bulls have to hold support to get this higher low attempt. And just to compare to CGC real quick, not even in the same category. If you wanted to measure the percentage pullback, you would find it to be much more significant. So bulls don't have as much room to work with. 1617 and 1578.76 are those two most important levels, and resistance is 1728. Anything under that's a 4-hour lower high. So a tightening pattern still here as well, but certainly one that favors the bears more than the previous setups that we have looked at here. ACB, beautiful tightening pattern. 4-hour time frame, let's see if it's more clear, and it is. High, low, lower high, higher low, lower high. Support is 1169, resistance is 1265. Bulls are hoping a higher low is forming at 1198, but again, we need more follow through tomorrow, and one of these levels is going to break probably tomorrow, if not tomorrow, certainly Monday. All about 1169 to 1265, and it's going to get interesting on ACB. So another one with a beautiful 4-hour pattern. So far, everybody that we've looked at has a clear setup on the 4-hour time frame. That's not always the case. So I go through and I say, where are things most clear for me? Sometimes it's the daily, sometimes it's the hourly. But once I hone in and say, all right, this is the time frame to watch, that really makes my job easier the next morning to say, okay, this is my main time frame, and then I can look at other time frames in relation to that main time frame that has the most clear pattern. Cron on the daily, clear bear break. Not surprising. These bears continue to just show up on Cron more than anybody else. Lower high and lower low on the daily. When we do bounce on the daily, anything under 1199 is a lower high. That's about 17% away from where we currently stand. Support is down at 994 and then 926. So bears still have the upper hand. We look at the 4-hour time frame and compare it. It doesn't look anything like anybody else because we dropped to a lower low today and took out that support. So Cron is a clear lead bear. You can watch the hourly lower highs if you want some more details. They are very clear here as well. And it's just it's lacking the correlation with everybody else. It's doing its own thing, and it's favoring the bears. NBEV, we got the bull break. Didn't get a lot of follow through. Obviously not the ideal day. And you have to keep in mind that, yes, the S&P 500 does have a significant impact. The last really bullish day that we saw yesterday, the S&P 500 was at the all-time high. We double topped at the all-time high. Today, with the significant pullback, we see profit taking across the sector after a higher open. So in my opinion, it may not be a tick-for-tick correlation like we sometimes see on the 5-minute time frame between SPY and CGC, but it is absolutely this general, sentiment. It's a gauge of sentiment for the market as a whole. So we did pull back from a bull break, but we still have a clear 4-hour higher low. So again, this is the best time frame to be watching. Most recent support is 736. That's to maintain the higher lows. We have a 4-hour inside bar. Resistance is 948. if we want more details on the hourly, potential equilibrium. If tomorrow morning, let's see, actually we had some extended hours action going on here. So we'll just leave it. That might be our lower high. Equilibrium on the hourly is a potential. If tomorrow morning, if we can't break 880 and we pull back, we're going to look for the bulls to try and defend 736 support and to maintain this hourly equilibrium. So I would say the hourly time frame is the best for NBEV for clarity, where everybody else, it's pretty much the 4-hour time frame. I actually like Cron better on the hourly as well, because if we're trying to distinguish these resistance levels, we need to zoom in. So Cron and NBEV for the hourly. Everybody else, watch that 4-hour time frame. Keep an eye on SPY. And let's see if we get further weakness, a little bit more bounce follow through here after hours, but that can all change by tomorrow morning. So I appreciate you watching. Hope you all continue to do good things. Again, follow that Instagram. I do put stuff, I'm going to start putting stuff out there that's specific to Instagram. It won't be on other things. I already talked about my trading setup this morning. And that's that. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Over the weekend, I'll probably do some small caps as well. Maybe I'll do a video specific to these major names and then a video specific to a half dozen small caps. Hope you're well. See you soon. Hello, and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts.